I'd like to welcome each and every individual to Voices of Integrity podcast for your voice in my headset on friendship. And we've got a lot to go over today. Um, so, if both of you ladies watched the one on Aristotle or Socrates that Patrick sent over on friendship, the three types of friendship.
I remember seeing it and glancing at it, but now I can't find it. So,
So, Elaine, you.
Was that the one that you watched with us?
No, that was a different one. That was really good that we actually never finished that one. Yeah, that was a really good one. We didn't finish that one. We need to finish that one. Um, so that one we'll see if the media team's on the ball. I'm sure they are. Powerful videos. And so I go down to phase two. And then I go to, yeah, yeah. So this one here we had done. And we had talked about half of it. And so this one here, Aristotle, three types of friendships. Um, so it's interesting where I hadn't seen this before. Only one is real, and so yeah. Um, Nora, you got anything?
uh, not at the moment. I don't think so.
Um, Elaine, you got anything?
No.
Um, I don't know if you both have realized that. Um, do you guys see like a shift in me?
All around, yeah.
Okay, Nora.
At times maybe.
So So I don't know anybody that's done what I've done with my mind. I'm not saying it's good, I'm not saying it's bad. I'm just saying I chose to do it. I chose to do it, and I knew that it could have ramifications that could destroy my marriage and my family and my business and everything, and I still did it. Why? I don't know. Why not? Right? Um, and so I'm pretty sure I'm going to go ahead and do a Father's Day for fathers, and I'm going to do an adventure map. And there's going to be, I think, 11 stations, just like there are now. Yeah, 11 stations. And so 11 things. So I'm probably going to email everybody. But like, what are the, I don't know, top two or three things that both of you, when you think of an amazing dad, because Father's Day coming up, when you think of an amazing dad, what would, not your dad's per se, it could be or not, like, what do you think are the three most important things for a dad? Characteristics, I don't know, philosophy, ways of thinking, anything.
One that I would think would be a good dad would be one that takes the time to talk with each kid individually every, once a day or right around that time, or at supper table where they'd go around the dinner table and just how was your day? What are you dealing with? That type of thing.
Uh, Nora, how about you?
I think for me it's probably more like what he models. Like actions will be louder than words. Like for as like a girl's perspective, for me it's like I don't know. Like I'm taking ownership of my life and my choices for sure. I mean, I had a choice and I chose. But it's like if I'd have seen how like women should be treated by their husbands, maybe I'd have made a better choice, because it wouldn't have been normal to be, does that make sense, to be treated like, if
Yeah.
I don't know, kind of like a role model of this is what a husband should be like, versus, ending up in a situation like I did because it was normal, like it felt familiar to me.
Right. Right. It just, yeah. And so I'll never forget Ben Whittick. He was 24 years old, and we had coffee, a coffee connection. We were hanging out at a coffee place, and he and I were talking, and he said, "Yeah, I had this epiphany." And I said, "Okay, what is it?" And he said, "Like that there's different ways to train kids and respond to them." I'm like, "What do you mean?" And he's like when we would run in the house. So he had a brother, so two boys, no girls. So he'd run in the house and there'd be food, there'd be mud on his shoes and they wouldn't wipe them off and they'd run in and, muddy up the house. And we get yelled at. Like we get yelled at for doing that. I just thought that's the only way that you could do it. And, and so, um, and I thought, well, yeah, there's a lot of different ways to raise children. There's a lot of different ways like when Ben, before he got married, like what he's studying now is he's studying being a dad and having a family. So he's like he's studying all the different ways to do it. He's like, he doesn't know, like, okay. Um, so before he got married, he says, Dad, there's no marriage that I would say I want my marriage to be like. Now, if feelings were important to me, if I could have been hurt, but I wasn't. It is what it is. And I had the same thought when I was his age, like, or before I got married. I'm like, I don't have any, like, I wouldn't want the marriage my parents had. And there was nobody that I could say, I admire that marriage. I want a marriage like that. Nobody. And so I realized, Mark, it's your marriage. And so maybe it's okay on somebody else's marriage, but what kind of a marriage do you want? And then it's up to you to get that marriage. And so yeah, I think I understand. Any other thoughts on for dads?
I guess model the respect, like model it for the kids, show them the different ways to show respect.
Right. Yeah, that's really good. So we might have, I mean, so you know, Jason introduced me to HUA. Patrick introduced me to POS. HUA plus POS equals an FOS. And so I don't know that I've experienced it, but I've heard, well, at least I didn't think I had experienced it. I can't relate to guys where guys go ahead and say, you know, these girls, they want bad boys. They don't want, they want bad boys. They want guys that violate the rules, that don't follow rules. They want all of this stuff. They're not looking for good guys. They're looking for bad guys. And I never really related to that. But of late I've wondered, like, am I doing people when people act like POSs, am I doing a disfavor by not treating them like a POS? Because I don't even think they know. And when you treat them like they are acting, they don't want to be around you anymore. And
Can I I just had this thought, and it's like maybe it's counterintuitive. I think that uh, a lot of the problems maybe that we had in our marriage, I had a wrong perspective on it. And then when I changed that perspective, so my therapist, she told me, she's like, a woman of quality helps her husband reach the fullness of his abilities. So it's kind of like when it was so weird because it's like when I started treating my ex like he was the man that he could have been, or like treated him like he was the man that I wanted, needed, like he was the best husband ever, was actually when he then left, because it revealed, I think he just became so, like, he couldn't stand himself with what he had done. He just couldn't stand himself being treated so well that he just like left. So
See,
it worked opposite of what you would think it would.
right, right.
So it's like,
So
and I don't know if this is the correct, I guess, a correct way or not. I guess we'll find out. But it's like, so now with, dating, it's like, I'm going to treat any potential future husband just from the start, treat him like he is already the man, like the, I don't know how you would say it, but like that is walking, or that is in, walking in his full potential of what God created him to be, to hopefully either like empower him more, or I don't know, chase him away. I don't know if that makes sense or not.
what I wonder is, I wonder that um, if that's what a woman's programmed to do in dating, and so she does do it, and he feels like $1 million, and then they get married, and then like Linda Breakall, my international coach, she says that in seasons of life, she said in seasons of life you renegotiate. And so in the renegotiation, um, you're going to like some things and not like others. And you negotiate. And so, I mean, I've wondered for a long time, but it's almost like,
But wouldn't it then be too like where, how like when you think about an emotional bank account, so if you have in the same thing, like if you have a cup and you keep, pouring into people, right? If nobody pours into you, then it'll like there'll be nothing left to pour out. So if you're constantly pouring out to, and we'll say dating here because it's like you're not married yet. So if you're constantly pouring out this cup, if it's not getting filled back up, then you should be able, or hopefully you'll be able to notice that and then like see it before you get married.
um, but I don't know if you do.
Okay.
I don't think you do.
Why
Because I
not?
think so much changes after marriage. And so, what a guy's able to do in dating engagement he's not able to sustain that in a marriage. What a girl is able to do in dating, she's not able to sustain that in a marriage, especially if there's kids. If there's children, you just can't sustain it. You just cannot. It's impossible to do. And so, like, if you're both working long, hard hours, but you're both working for something in the future, you're willing to pay the price today, because I know that that's one of the things I love about marriage. If we don't have that great of a date night, next Friday we'll have another one. And so, every date night it's not the end of the world. And this is the thing about death that's just so funny to me, is like people, like when my mom, when she died, everybody's rushing to her at the end. Why? Because they didn't act like she was dying her whole life. And so, like, people aren't paying attention. They're not attentive. They're not intentional. So what I wonder, Nora, is I wonder if I have allowed my wife and my kids to treat me poorly. And they all know, Dad, Mark, he's going to be fine. He'll be fine, like he just is. He will always love us. He'll always be there. We can do anything we want to him, mostly, and he'll be fine. We can mistreat him. We can do our, we can. And it's like, so somebody close to me, I'm like, you're a POS. And they got really hurt and offended by it. But finally they settled down and they're like, well, what's a POS to you? And I'm like, this, and this. And you're doing these things. You just are. I'm just telling you, you just are. And then they started to explain the reasons they're doing them. And it's like, it's fine that you're a POS. I'm going to treat you like you're acting. I'm going to treat you like you're acting. I'm just going to. And I've not done that for 41 years. And so I'm like, oh, I'm going to start doing that to see if that will work. And what's interesting is people who come up with reasons why they do things or don't do things. They are experts at coming up with reasons, but boy, do they hate when you go ahead and come up with reasons for them. And the people that don't like to come up with reasons, because it's so stupid to have reasons, they don't come up with reasons. They keep getting stronger and stronger. And all of a sudden you distance yourself. One's growing and the other's not growing. And so in the video, in this video, and so, like, how do I watch one video? Like, how do I watch one video and internalize, and other people, it's just weird to me. Like, I've wondered, this is what I've wondered too. I've wondered if people sense they can feel significance and they run away from it. Like the 3 types of friendship. Like, I just watched it and it's like, so it's like the first friendship is like fun. You're doing something fun, and so it's fun, and so that's fun. The other is I'm giving you something, you're giving me something. The third level of friendship is I'm making you a better person, you're making me a better person. We're helping each other. So this was, I don't know, a number of hundreds of years ago, Aristotle, like hundreds of years ago. And so And so I wonder if people don't realize, like in their own mind, and because people treat them nice, because people treat them nice when they're a POS, they become entitled to that treatment. And in their own mind, they're acting poorly, but because they have a good reason for acting poorly, they continue to act poorly. Like my understanding of the addicted brain, the brain of an addict, like an alcoholic or a drug addict, is the brain will crave that alcohol or drug or whatever it is so much that it will rationalize anything and everything. I mean, you think about a woman and her own child and how a woman is programmed, she's wired at the very core and essence of who she is to care and put her life at risk for her child. But yet, moms who are drug addicts will sell their girls in prostitution or just sell their baby right out because the drugs take over. And I wonder if, like a non-alcoholic alcoholic, the person who's addicted to lazy, whether it's thinking or relationally or whatever they're, whatever they are, is they get addicted to it and they go towards it. They crave it so much that they make stupid choices. And then they come up with reasons. So I think I have an advantage. I think one of my biggest advantages is that I'm a man. I think the second biggest advantage is I own a company. So I learn very early in my 20s. I learned very early nobody cares about the success of my business or my success. I have to care about it myself. And if I don't, I'm going to go work for somebody else. And I don't want to do that. So I have to take ownership. I mean, Kevin, new or married, his wife is pregnant. And he asked a great question on the Top Gun where he said, I tend, when other people make mistakes that I'm leading, I tend to own those. I wonder if that's bad. So there's a lot. And Patrick, like, there's a lot. Like he said, Mark, have you ever thought that you make a dimensional jump and you just hate it? It's so painful. I'm like, right? And it's fascinating to me. There's people that we play pickleball together. And one of them asked, like, how long have you guys known each other? And I'm like, I've only known you guys all through pickleball. They've known Patrick, I don't know, 5, 6, 7 years, but they don't even know about his daughter. They don't know about his dad. They don't know about anybody. And it was interesting at pickleball. So for, probably 25 minutes yesterday, um, Patrick shared his story. So, you know, um, two others, they shared theirs, I shared mine. And so we shared each other's. And Patrick said, I need to recover. I need to heal from it. It's like he's not used to sharing stuff about himself with others. So, so I don't know, like I haven't jotted down, but what are the top things I think for a dad? I think learning to grow, self-awareness, a desire, a passion for growth, for growing. Self-awareness. Taking ownership. Strong communicator.
Challenge people.
Challenge people. Don't need praise. There's a Wall Street article, Wall Street Journal article about dads and Father's Day, and this dad was writing. It was fascinating, and there was research on. I don't think I sent it yet, but I think I've got it queued. Really interesting, where they did research. He researched 1,000 fathers. This guy did, to find out what they wanted for Father's Day. And he said most fathers don't want to say they want to be acknowledged or praised because they think it's an unmanly thing to say. And I would agree. Like, if you need to go ahead, if you need to be thanked or appreciated, you're going to struggle as a dad.
But would you say that it's okay to thank them though and show them appreciation?
I think so. But I think the thing is I think, what would be cool is to go ahead. What would be cool is to say, I want to thank you. But even more important, I hope my life thanks you. Like, the words are meaningless. They're meaningless if the actions aren't there. Like, if you're making poor choices as a child or an adult child, if you're making poor choices and you're, thanks, Dad, for all you've done. So, like, maybe the first one is seeker of truth. So I think it's okay to thank dads. I think that's okay. But I think a lot of times it's not from the heart. Like, it's crazy now with my children who have kids, especially multiple kids. And so, like Nora, when she said, you don't know anything different. So if you're a spectacular, amazing, phenomenal dad, like my dad didn't talk with us much at all. It's not that he didn't care. He just, I don't know. He didn't talk about goals. He didn't talk about feelings. He didn't talk about anything. Like, he just didn't talk with us. Just don't ever remember. Like, and I think he was a good dad. But I'm a very, very different type of dad than he is. And I see, well, there's good parts to that, but then there's some weaknesses to that kind of parenting as well, Mark. Like, so I think, like, it's interesting because I think that most of the people that I play pickleball with, that I hang with, that I have a very unusual relationship with my kids. And especially my two oldest daughters. Well, and even Ben. So those three, I think that people are like, I think every dad wants to have every husband wants a deep relationship with his wife. I think it's wired in him. He wants it. I think every dad wants to go ahead and have a deep connection with his kids. But because he's like Nora said, he's never been modeled. A man's he's never seen it. He's never seen it. I remember my uncle, Gary, he said with his oldest son that when his oldest son got married, he had to back away from that relationship with his oldest son to give the oldest son the ability to connect with his wife. When he said that, I'm just like, what? Like, what? Like, that's crazy. Like, that was insane. I'm like, I couldn't even comprehend how could a dad have such a deep relationship with his son that it would negatively impact or not allow his wife to go ahead and have a deeper, like, I could not fathom that kind of a relationship. It was so foreign. So I think if a husband has a deep relationship with his wife, I think that gives him confidence to where he can have a deep relation. He has a chance of having a deep relationship with his children. Because there's a high statistical probability, I'm guessing, that man's never had a deep relationship with anyone. I know I didn't. It's an interesting journey. Anything else, Nora, you got?
No, I don't think so.
Elaine, anything else you got?
No, I don't think so.
So, how do we help it beyond both of you? Like this podcast.
Well, I don't know about this one is certainly, but I've shared quite a few of the other your Sunday podcasts with a good friend of mine who's going through some stuff. So I haven't heard back from her.
Ouch. That's good to know. Like, oh, somebody's listening. So I think it goes back. I think the reflection is key. I think that I pursued that. And I think that's key. Like friendship, like in friendships, we have, so you'll like me, you won't like me, you'll love me. Like Patrick, he was saying, talking about the three, these three types of friendships. And I said, they're missing one. And he's like, which one? And I said, the marriage one, where you dislike each other. He laughed. And so I think that you get a good one, you get a really, really good one, and you share it with somebody, and then you get them to share their thoughts. Like, what do you think about this? And what'd you learn? And what action you're going to take? And what do you so I mean, Nora's today was really good. Like, what if you don't know what to write? So because I guess I'm a writer, I always know what to write. I mean, I don't, but I know just write, and you'll put the first word in and start typing, and it just comes. You'll figure it out. Do the best you can. But I don't think most people are like that. I think most people don't do a lot of writing. I don't think most people do a lot of reading. I don't think most people do a lot of writing, which means they're not communicating. So they don't know how to communicate well. They don't know how to put their feelings into words. They don't know how to figure out their feelings. And so if either of you have ideas on this, like, because these aren't me, these are short. Like these three are interesting. These are, kindness versus nice. Like that one's insane. And this one's really cool too. And this one's really cool too. So it's almost like getting them in there and saying, well, what do you think about this? And then you get people talking. So I think people are comfortable talking to me. Like Rosanna laughs and says, people will tell you things they won't tell anybody else. So I think people are comfortable talking to me. How do we get people comfortable talking to other people? I don't know. So if you have ideas, because I enjoy these, and in a way, I enjoy, the same people here every week. I enjoy, because it's like we're doing life together, trying to figure stuff out. We ruminate on it. So it's cool for the three of us and others that, it's cool for the three of us, you know. But, part of me is like, I want to share it with other people, right? I want, like, so yeah, if you ladies have any ideas for sure. And if people are listening and, like, how do we do 1 + 1 and then addition, subtraction, multiplication, and division? So always remember we can accomplish so much more together than we ever could on our own. Have an amazing day. Bye bye.